Hello friends, happy Friday, and welcome back to this walkthrough of Final Fantasy VI with me, jrpg. In the last episode, we reunited with Banon and Narsh, where we came up with a plan to stage an attack on the Empire with the help of the Espers, whose world lies beyond the sealed gate. Terra, who is living proof that humans and Espers can share a bond, has agreed to go along with this plan, as she is the returner's best hope of convincing the Espers to help. We're outside the Imperial camp, and we'll have to go through to try to find the sealed gate, so let's get going. But the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and form a new party, but we're not gonna form our actual party just yet. We're just gonna take a party of one person, or rather a party where we don't have Terra with us. So Setzer says, what's the most important thing in life? Being free of obligations. You know what? I can get behind that. Otherwise, you lose the ability to gamble. And let's go ahead and change party members, and let's just grab Locke, because what I want to show is the fact that Terra is mandatory for this section. So we're going to throw on the sprint shoes just to make this quick. Because I did say that we would get all optional cutscenes, and I suppose that this counts as one. So if we, like the boneheads we are, go in here without Terra, it's going to tell us this. The Espers wouldn't give us the time of day without Terra. And it's going to boot us out immediately. So let's come to our senses and go ahead and form our actual party that we're going to take this on with. Now, we're going to want a pretty specific combination. Let's talk to Edgar this time. Edgar says we can't be smug. We must be thinking of our strategy, and that is great advice. We do need to think of our strategy. So, Terra is mandatory, and Locke should always be with Terra. Let's go ahead and take Cyan, because we're going to find something pretty cool for him in here. And I'm going to bring Sabin for reasons that I will elaborate on in just a second. It is tempting to bring either Setzer or Gao because they're so low level to level them up, and we will be gaining a lot of levels in here, but I'm going to rock with this for right now. I don't really like playing with Setzer and Gao. So let's unequip everybody who's not with us, and let's get optimized. So let's hit optimum, but we're going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to grab the Blizzard Saber, because basically you can't go wrong with ice in the Cave to the Sealed Gate, but you can go wrong with a lot of other things, as I'll talk about in just a sec. So we're going to go ahead and throw on the tiara and the white dress, but despite the fact that we're putting on this equipment to buff Terra's magic power, she's actually going to be a physical attacker for us right now, because she's only got her fire spell. So let's throw her in the front row, and let's put on the Atlas armlet to kind of buff that attack of hers. There we go. And Locke with Optimum will have the Blizzard. Yep, this all looks pretty good to me. Cyan can stay where he's at, and let's optimize Sabin. Actually, I would rather have Sabin wearing the Power Sash, so let's put the gold armor on Cyan. Put the Power Sash on Sabin. That's going to be pretty nice. And Sabin's going to wear his pair of earrings as usual. Terra's all set up. Locke wants his sneak ring and his running shoes as usual. And then Atlas and Hyper Wrist are the physical damage setup. That looks good to me. And finally, we need to do some Espers. So Terra can stick with Maudwin because she is about 48% done. She's almost there, almost has some useful spells, but not quite yet. Locke can go with Stray, buffing his magic power, and Sabin can get Zone Seek, buffing that magic power +2. That's going to be really, really sweet. Okay, I think we're all set to go, so let's get a move on. And now we walk in the Imperial base. That's odd. No Imperial soldiers. Terra says, let's get this over with. And now we remember that this place used to be full of soldiers, but now it's empty, which is definitely weird. And we do remember this treasure room, but I want to check it out just one more time, take one more longing look at this treasure, but it's still locked, we can't get in. All right, let's keep going. And if the fact that this place is empty, despite the fact that it was crawling with soldiers before, is making your "this might be a trap" sense go off, you are smarter than the returners. All right, and just to our right is the Cave to the Sealed Gate. Let's get in there. Now, before we get started, I'd like to talk a little bit about what's going on in here. The encounters in here are very challenging and very dangerous, particularly at our low level, but we will be gaining a lot of levels in here, so that's going to go away pretty soon. But for now, what I want to talk about is the fact that there are a ton of undead enemies in here, but the vast majority of them absorb fire for some reason, which is why we're having Terra be the physical attacker. You can't really go wrong with Ice and Pearl. Pearl is the reason we have Sabin with us to make things a little bit easier on us, but the going is gonna be tough, so let's get into it. And now Liches are pretty dangerous, but we get the benefit of a side attack, so let's go ahead and take advantage. I'm not gonna mess around, I'm just gonna kill these guys as quickly as possible. We're not even gonna try stealing, although the common steel is a green cherry, and a poison rod is the rare steel, which is pretty cool since we don't have one of those yet. But how they work is they will keep ramping up from fire to fire 2 to fire 3. Wow, he just fired it off immediately. If you leave them alive for too long. So let's go ahead and get them dead. That was insane. Okay. Let's go ahead and heal up after that. Wow, that was really scary. Yeah, I guess we can just use a couple more potions. We just have piles of these things from thieving across the world with Locke. Now, the first thing we're gonna find is the Assassin Dagger, and there's a little bit of a theme with the treasures in here in that they are good, but you don't want to use them in here. So, for example, the Assassin will proc Wound or Instant Death, but if you use it on an undead creature, it will always proc and give them a full heal instead of killing them, so we really don't want to be using this, but we will keep it in mind. Alright, Apparites are much less dangerous, so we can steal from these guys. They're going to have a potion as a common steel and a Revivify as a rare steel, and they can use Imp Song to turn us into imps, but we're not really going to worry about that. We're just going to absolutely body these dudes. And that ought to do it. Unfortunately, Terra's an imp, but we do have plenty of green cherries, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Let's go ahead and get that fixed. Not so bad compared to Fire 3, am I right? And in here, we're going to find a second Tempest for Cyan, and we remember that that's Wind Elemental, and will sometimes replace its attack with Wind Slash. Now, we've got 2 of them, so we can completely change Cyan's setup here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and use our Genji Glove, which we haven't really actually gotten to use yet. If I can find it. There it is. And because we're going to be proccing a magical attack sometimes, let's go ahead and give him the Hero Ring. This way he'll get a 25% buff to that hit no matter what happens, but we're going to finally use the Fight command. Now I want to be clear that what I'm doing is not actually a good idea. But it seems fun, so we're going to do it anyway, and I'll explain why it's a bad idea once we meet those enemies. Now, in here is something very similar to a level in Mega Man 2, Heatman's level, with some disappearing blocks. But if you just follow the path that I take, you're going to be just fine. And we'll find a pretty interesting relic in this treasure box just over here. And that is going to be the Coin Toss relic. This is a relic for Setzer that will change his slot to GP Rain. And what that means is that you end up using Gil to deal damage. The amount that it costs Gil-wise is 30 times Setzer's level to use and deals double that damage divided evenly among targets. So for example, Setzer is level 16 right now. That would cost us 480 Gil to deal 960 damage divided evenly among all targets. So it's not very good right now, but once we gain a bunch of levels and are so rich we don't know what to do with our money, it becomes quite good. Holocytes are new, so we can leave this in. And let's go ahead and use Cyan's Fight command and see how that works out. Maybe we'll even proc it twice. It's pretty sweet when you do. But to talk about the Holocytes a little bit, they are weak to ice and can use Hypno Sting to inflict Psych, which is sleep in this game, as you already know. And it has a potion as a common steel and an antidote as a rare steel. And yet when they die, they like to try to cast Magnitude 8, but they just can't, which is kind of funny. Maybe a little sad. Here we'll find an X potion, and that's nice to have, but not a huge deal. And this one's a little confusing where it doesn't start moving until you get over here. But once again, if you just follow the path that I take, you'll be just fine. Now up here we want to hang a right to get this high up treasure box first. And we're going to find an ether, and we may just need that. Now, zombones are not particularly dangerous. Fortunately for us, they are actually weak to fire, so we have something useful for Terra to do. And because we have Fire Dance with Sabin, they are actually pretty easy to beat. Now, they have 1,991 HP, and we'll start using Bone to inflict zombie by the 4th turn, but once again, we can kill them before that. These are the encounters you want to see, and I will show the ones that you don't want to see because we will definitely run into them very soon. There goes our Wind Slash, that's nice. Now if we come back around, we'll be able to go this way. All right, we got a little beat up there. Let's go ahead and heal up. Bit of a waste of a potion, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Now if we come up here, we can see that there's no way to get to that treasure box up top, but I knew they were going to be Ings. Okay, these guys are the reason that it's not really a great idea to be dual-wielding Tempests in here, and that reason is because Ings can use an ability called Life Shaver. Now, they have 1,100 HP, and what Life Shaver does is heals them for the amount of HP they've lost so far, while damaging the target for the same amount. And you can imagine, if you've just dealt them 500 damage with a couple of procs from your Wind Slash, those things can just one-shot you if they use Life Shavers. So once again, it's not a good idea, but we're going to do it anyway. I think we'll be okay. They also have an amulet as a rare steal, and the interesting thing about Life Shaver is that it's Earth Elemental, and what that means is that it's the only ability in the game that Float can't protect you from, even though it's Earth Elemental. But the point I've been trying to make in kind of a roundabout way is that you'd really prefer to just one-shot the Ings. If you end up dealing a bunch of AoE damage to each of them, but it doesn't kill them, you're just giving them all an opportunity to use Life Shaver back-to-back. Now, sometimes they just don't do that, but it can definitely be very dangerous to play this the way I'm playing it. And we are just gaining levels left and right. This is awesome. Let's go ahead and heal up. Now, what I was saying a moment ago is that if we flick this switch, of course it's a trick and we'll fall to the ground, but we will hear a distant sound. And what that sound is a bridge being created to this treasure box. And inside we will find a Genji glove, further encouraging you to use it in here, even though it's a pretty bad idea. Let's go ahead and get healed up again. Now up here, we're going to see two switches, and we're definitely going to want to do the one on the left first, because the one on the right is going to lead to a very difficult encounter. So let's pop in here, and in this chest, we can find a tent. And I think we're going to go ahead and use that, and I think we're going to save the game, because the difficult encounter has a rare steal that I really want, but it may take me a couple of tries because his damage output is ridiculous. Alright, now when we flick the switch here, the ninja's gonna drop in on us. And this guy is really, really difficult. He has 1,650 HP and crazy damage output. He's got a cherub down as a rare steal, which is what I'm trying to get here, but it's going to be really, really difficult to do, because he can throw things like the Bolt Edge. So we just have to hope we get lucky and burn a lot of potions trying to get this done. And there goes the Bolt Edge, and look at the damage on this. He's also got access to the other two elemental throwing items, the Fire Skein and the Water Edge, and he will turn himself invisible in response to any fight command, which, as you probably already know, you can rectify by using a magic attack, but it is annoying when you're trying to make that steal happen. Oh, we did it! Okay! Let's go on the offensive. And hopefully we can just knock him down immediately. And I'm just going to cast a fire spell on him, although he is weak to thunder. but that will do it. Okay, wow, that only took me 2 tries. I did lose in the first one, but keeping up with his damage output while trying to get the seal down is difficult, and he's gonna say, nuts, I thought I had the monopoly on the stuff buried in the plaza beneath the grand stairway, which is weirdly specific, but this is my favorite part. He doesn't even get a sound effect, he just goes away. All right, let's go ahead and heal up. That looks good, and let's keep going. Now this switch here may look like a trap because it's hanging over lava, but we do have to flick it because it will open these stairs. Now at the bottom, this is the area the ninja was talking about, and in order to find the treasures he was talking about, just do what I do. So go down 1 and left 1, and there's something under the ground. And it's an invis edge. Now, the interesting thing about these is that they work differently from the invisible treasure boxes on the Phantom Train, where these don't care which way you're facing, they're just on the tile you're standing on. So from here, we want to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And before we grab this one, let's go ahead and take a look at our soft potion count. We've got 10 right here, right? So when we grab this, it's going to tell us that it's a remedy, but it is not. It turns out it's a soft potion. We've got 11 now. Now, I don't know how those mistakes happened. Maybe they changed it somewhere in development and just forgot to change the text. I don't really know. But next we need to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in here, we will find a water skein. And now the water skein and the invis edge are what they say they are, but the remedy is not. Now there's one more mistake in here after we find this ether, which will be right up here. Now let's take a look at our gil count. We've got 15,211. This is gonna say it's 2,000 gil, but it is not. We've got 15,504, so it is actually 293 gil. Which is not a big deal, but it's definitely a little disappointing. I feel like I earned my 2,000 gil, but oh well, let's keep going. And once again, let's heal up. But look at this, we're already levels 18 and 19 and 20. This place is just one big XP dump. And it's just fantastic. Now here is just your everyday run-of-the-mill 3-ing formation. Now I should let you know that I'm leaving this fight in post because something happens during it that I want to show you. In fact, it's precisely what I've been talking about that makes these guys dangerous, and that makes dual-wielding Tempest sort of a bad idea in here, and we'll see that in just a second. So, we're gonna proc the Tempest here, and I should say that I think the Genji Glove is a little bit overrated, but when you can actually proc something and you get 2 tries at it, it does make it quite good. And here comes the Life Shaver, and this is going to absolutely one-shot Sabin. 786 damage, and the most annoying part is that it also heals them back up, so now you've got to kind of take things from the top with them. But I'm going to insist on using my Genji Glove because I feel like Cyan should just be, you know, a 2-katana-wielding samurai, a Musashi, if you will. But down they go, not too bad. Alright, let's go ahead and get Sabin back up. But I am glad that happened at least once so you could see it, just to demonstrate why what I'm doing is not the best idea. Don't say I didn't warn you. Now in here we'll find an elixir, and there will be several switches over here. I can show you what this first one does. That's gonna lead to some stairs up, but it will break the bridge, meaning we can't reach that treasure box. Now we can avoid this one and go around, and inside this treasure box will be a switch. We're gonna leave it alone for now, but I'll show you what it does in just a little bit. But if we had stepped on this switch, it would break that bridge, so we've got to find another way either way. Now if we hang a left down here, there's gonna be yet another switch, and it will open up that cavern over there. And there's something pretty exciting in there. Ooh, Terra learned her Tier 2 magic, and as Billy Madison would say, now you're all in big, big trouble. So, let's go ahead and switch up her setup then. Let's give her her earrings. And we need to switch up her Espers setup, because we can give her Zone Seek now, which is gonna be sweet. And that will allow Sabin to start learning some Tier 2 magic, which couldn't hurt. So we'll get Zone Seek on Terra and start buffing that sweet, sweet magic power. Okay, now I'm excited for this. We're gonna find a magicite item, that's pretty cool, and an ether as well, and one more magicite in here. But the main event is this, the Atma weapon. Now, we did hear that we would meet a monster and find a sword like that, and we found the sword already. Now, that battle power of 255 might look pretty exciting, but that's not all that's going on with this weapon. In fact, it's pretty bad right now, keeping with the theme of stuff you don't really want to use right away. So, it will ignore defense, and the damage will increase linearly the higher your level, but it decreases depending upon the percentage of HP you've lost compared to your maximum HP. So, it does sound exciting, but it doesn't do very much damage right now, but it will later. We'll go ahead and hang on to that and keep that in mind as well. All right, let's keep on going. Now let's go ahead and flick this switch. Now if we flick this switch, it will give us access to that treasure box we didn't flick the switch in before. Now you see this bridge just to my top right. Let's go ahead and flick the switch in here. And if we do that, it will eliminate the bridge. Now, all we've got to do is get in a random encounter, but this is what I'm talking about when I say this place is an XP dump. There's a lot of things designed to just make you get in more fights. And as you can see, now that that battle is over, the bridge is back. So let's grab this treasure up here, and one more magicite. We should probably use those one of these days. They're pretty fun. We're almost to the end, and that's gonna be right through here. Let's check it out. And oh man, look at this. I love the way the thunder cracks right when you walk through the door. It's so cool. This is the sealed gate. Locke says beyond is the Esper world. Cyan says, what an eerie place. And Sabin says, we're counting on you, Terra. And Terra has nothing to say as she walks forward. Terra! The gate! Quickly! And oh yeah, it's Kefka. Kefka! You followed us! He sure did. Kefka says, hee hee hee. The Emperor was right. Let Terra fall into your hands, and you'd open the gate for us. Kefka says, how does it feel to know you've been working for us? Now I fear you've outlived your usefulness. You'd better think again, Kefka, we say. Kefka says, oh dear, you want to fight me? This is just dreadful. And the text says, keep Kefka busy until Terra slips through the gate. So you'd think that you have to engage in a fight and buy her some time, but really you get to take like one action. So we're gonna try and steal from him, even though he doesn't have anything, and look! The door's opening. Terra says, Espers, please heed my call. Kefka says it opened. And we cry out, Terra! Kefka says, I feel so anxious. Something's coming. And here come the Espers, and I wish they had been a little more careful about this, because some of these are Espers that we already have, and they definitely shouldn't be there. Kefka says, frightful energy. There goes Shiva, for example, but Kefka says, wah! And Kieran. Terra, we cry out. But she doesn't have anything to say, and she collapses. Hey, the gate! And the rocks collapse, and the gate looks to be closed permanently. What about those Espers? Tara says, look, let's return to the airship. Now, you might be thinking, remember when Madonna got lost and ended up at the sealed gate? Did she come through here and, like, survive Lich's casting Fire 3 on her? No wonder Maudwin was so into her, but she probably took this way. This little shortcut right here that we somehow didn't notice. And we're back outside. I really enjoy the way Kefka's piercing laugh lets you know he's there. Like, it just makes you feel like the Empire is so dastardly. What happened, we ask? And Edgar replies the Espers flew off together. Then the Empire's citizens ran off as though they were terrified. Which way did the Espers go, we ask? Toward the capital. Vector. And I like that even though this was our plan, we kind of didn't realize the kind of destruction we were about to unleash, and there is some trepidation here. Setzer says we're almost at Vector. There. What's that? Locke says, what's wrong, Tara? And Tara says, I can feel it. It's coming closer and closer. Locke says, what do you mean you can feel it? Tara says it was glowing. Locke says, what's that? It can't be. An Esper? It's coming! Watch out, Tara! And he dives on top of her like the hero he is. Setzer says, what was that? And Locke says, Setzer, get down! And he protects him as well. There goes Kieran and Bismarck, Carbuncle, and Phantom. All Espers we already have. But anyway. Setzer says, oh, Espers? Locke says, where are they going? Tara says, they were mad. Locke says, they seemed angry. Tara says, no, stop, please, don't go. Setzer says, forget that, what's with this vibration? Is it from the Espers? And Edgar says, Setzer? I've lost control. And that's right, after that flyby from the Espers, we are going down. And I love this zoom in here. It really does feel like we're crashing. But fortunately, we just barely clear the mountains. And it looks like the airship is out of commission. Now, let's figure out where we've ended up. Looks like everyone's all right. That's good news. And where we are is on the southern continent, not too far from Vector. And we're gonna go check it out and figure out what exactly we've done now. But that's gonna have to wait until next time because I'm all out of time for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Final Fantasy Friday.